Hello. So, to understand the origin of letter B, it's easier to understand what was going on. So, when the pyramids started to be built, it was because of the violent tribes. People agreed to have 7 generations of working it off, like prisoners, right? And this would be seen from far away as wood, because wood was to be respected. By law, a person had the right to send, a woman had a right to send a man away. And so a child or a woman or a person, no matter what language they spoke, when they were among the civilized people, all they had to do was go like this. And that was called a letter B. Because the person near them that would see it would have to obey when this person points to the direction they have to go to get away. If the person does not obey, they will start coming out with bows and stuff. Because a person needed the right to say no to sex. It would spread disease, and it would kill people. So, to train the children and the people, the elements, the pentagram was used. And so water, basically, Jesus walking on water is not having a sexual act. He's not committing a sexual deed. He is not having sex with anyone. That's what it means to walk on water. It means teasing too. Like he's being teased, but he's not going to do it. If his foot sinks, he gets in the water, that would be a sexual act. Does that make sense? So, and the reason where this actually comes from is mermaids, and using different islands, or just different designated areas. In Africa, they would actually use flags, 3 of them. And you were not supposed to leave this whatever area that would have a flag. The kids would be told that they had to stay within a certain vicinity, and if they reached like a certain color or whatever, it meant they could go no further. So that would be the way that they would do it, and it would be like triangulating a location basically by their parents or whatever while they're away, right? And then when they come back, they know their kids are going to be within that vicinity. Well, anyways, seeing Egypt from far away, seeing this meant respect. It meant that the person has a right to send the people away. So basically, the rule was that the person had to not be treated like an object, not be in the possession of another person in a sick way, and basically they would save their virginity. They would try to save their virginity to be until being married. Now, it wasn't as strict to like that direction was not as strict as wood. Wood being penetrated is a different thing. That's a lot more serious, because that is where the agreements would be made and where the math would be found when it came to finding out what was killing people, or what the difference looked like when a person died. If a person had an STD or something like that during those times, their liver might be rotten and look very scary compared to other people. So during Jesus' times, the reason that they would poke the liver and then drink and then put it in a cup is because they're daring people to drink it. The people that were put up on crosses were disobeying, and they weren't doing what they were supposed to do. Jesus Christ actually did not go up on the cross, though. He actually did not go up on the cross. That was a magic show. But anyways, he came back on Easter and then used a magnet that ascended to heaven, which was basically what separated the heavens and the earth. Not a magnet, but a metal star fragment. When you stroke it against a loved one enough times, it would create the first compass. Basically, when you stroke it against a sheep or a person, just a fallen star fragment, you stroke it against them, it creates friction. And then when you drop it in water, it would point towards the sky. So the heavens and the earth were separated by a fallen star fragment. When you stroke it against a loved one enough times, it would prove the love to be real. And so the saying from reuniting in heaven, the saying where that comes from is when a parent is not sure they're going to come home, and so they would wake up their children to the magic found in this holy object. And then they would let them know, when you have a dream of me, that is actually me. And that is where, and that know that I had the same dream. I may not remember it, but that is me. And that's where we will be found. That's where you will find me if I don't come home. So that is actually, isn't that a funny coincidence that car driving by was talking about a dream in that song? That has always been happening for me. It is called a letter Z. And it is something that I've been trying to share with other people. And I haven't been crazy this whole time. I also haven't lied or played any magic tricks. So I'd like to ask you, if you are doing anything magical, like if you are a Christian or part of any religion, please don't involve me in it. Because what I'm trying to do is create the most positive echoes for everybody sharing gravity that would inspire everything good that would have started religions or whatever, right? So please don't associate me with anything dishonest, because I don't lie. I have made mistakes, and in the past, when I got into trouble, let's see, what does a police officer say? You have a right to remain silent. I was silent. If he asked me, I would have told him everything. That's the truth. Everybody knows it. I was always good. I am not deceitful. When I was the most despicable and at my worst, you know, I was no longer a vegan. I didn't want people to see me, and I got into drugs, so I didn't want people to know. And I would try to direct people into something better that was not stealing. You know, something like you should just, you know, carry a gas can around and ask people for help instead of, you know, steal something. So I was actually always a very helpful person, even when I was during my worst, most embarrassing moments in life. And using the language of Adam, waking up to this, is extremely important in understanding how our mind works. Psychology, our subconscious mind, what we are doing on accident, and how to connect to the future echo that would be yourself, or maybe coming from your partner. It's not healthy or wise to suggest that there is such a thing as fate. That is really dumb. It is actually, fate only exists in the past. Our future is it's a splitting universe. But there is math found when there are birds or insects, birds and bees or whales or whatever. They will try to make sure that someone like me succeeds over somebody else because it's more helpful to them. Would that make sense? And so that would be like a W compared to a V. If that makes sense. So the letter B is very simple to understand. It's a warning. The letter B is warning. It basically means don't sink any further or you could be fired upon. So when it is carried, when you see it a second time, the warning has been found. And you're going to carry the letters that are found by the first appearance of it over to the second appearance of it or whatever. And by doing this, you'll be able to wake up to what might be the miracle of an apology, or the parents of somebody trying to warn a person about where the bacteria was found that was tricking them or programming them into being sick. Something like that. It's actually always there. And these street names actually responded to me living once. This street right here, Selma, this street, Cherokee, all of that responded to everybody who ever lived. That means that when they came up with this street name in the past, they responded to everybody who ever came across it and everything they ever thought. They're trying to do it for human more than anything else, is what I would like to believe. But previously, too many people possibly have been programmed by bacteria and insects more than we want to allow to happen. So it's extremely important not to come to conclusions that would be telling a person they're crazy or not wanting to understand a person, because what the crazy people have been doing has been actually providing us the answers that are needed in dreams. Their brains have been working overtime for everybody else that has not been as smart. That would be true. What happens when you take your brain to the gym? You might start hearing voices. But you're not going to actually have to hear voices if you don't hang out west of bacteria or trash or areas like that. To get rid of voices, those sharing gravity would move a teepee and use sage to burn off the males, sweetgrass to burn off the females. But the bacteria traps that existed in somewhere like a castle were very real and dangerous, and did not care for the human host as much as the delusion that came from timed thoughts, trying to make sure that the human host provided for bacteria.